Welcome back to the shop. I took a week off last week, so if you are someone that's coming back to watch my video series, I appreciate your patience. I just needed a break. Things just kind of snuck up on me, and I was feeling a little tapped out, so I just decided, you know what? Now is the time to take a break. Got a lot of family time in, and just enjoying life. If you're new here, I am the Convicted Christian. I am 7 years, almost 8 years, actually. It'll be 8 years in, hang on, let me look at the date. It will be 8 years in 10 days. So almost 8 years clean and sober. I did almost 10 years in prison, and now I am free and off parole, all thanks to God's love for me. Now, I typically do a Bible verse right now. I don't have one prepared. My wife sent me one, so let me go take a peek at it. Okay, so I found it. And now I am also a little bit further away from the camera. It is what it is. So we're looking at Psalm 62:7. My salvation and my honor depend on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. Sure seems like a lot of spiritual, religious talk. And I'm a firm believer that even if you don't completely believe in God or don't believe in it at all, you can still get something from the Bible. You can still find inspiration from the Bible. For me, what this means as a Christian, that no outside influence dictates my honor or my salvation, and because of that, I need to only go to Him as my mighty rock and as my refuge to recenter, to feel safe. We Christians believe that this is not our destination. This earth, this plane, this existence, this is not where we're meant to be. And so it's not about keeping me safe in a physical sense. It's about keeping my spirit safe. And yes, there are times when I believe that He has kept me physically safe from harming myself, from harming others. And it's made for a interesting hindsight when I look back at a lot of the things that I put myself through, put other people through, or have been through because of my actions. I don't need validation from my family. I don't need validation from my church, my local politicians, the cops. I don't need that, because it's all in God. And it doesn't absolve me of anything. I did what I did. I had to serve time. And I will forever use that as a lesson to either help others learn what to do or not to do, or to teach myself, hey, this kind of feels, similar to this other situation that I had. And that really brings it into focus for me that if I don't have a central point, a foundation, a landmark to base my actions off of, then I'm going to do whatever I want, regardless of what happens to others. That's how He is part of being my rock and my refuge. It makes it a lot easier to make choices, actually. Doesn't mean that doing the choices is easy. Living with whatever the consequences are, good or bad or indifferent. But with having a foundation, a starting point, a central idea, it's real easy to look at that and go, well, okay, according to this is what I need to do, so that's what I'm going to do. And that makes a lot of things really easy. Now, if I didn't believe, this verse to me may still make sense to me, in the regards of, if I put my own salvation, non-spiritual salvation, just salvation of, whatever I'm going through, my past, whatever the case may be, and my honor on something greater than myself, then nothing else matters other than that thing. And it has to be a pretty big thing, because it can't be wishy-washy. It can't, leave me high and dry in the long run. It's got to be pretty significant. And I could still see someone living to be their best self using this Bible verse, using the knowledge that comes from this one particular verse. Because once you put your salvation and your honor on something that is astronomically higher than yourself, more powerful than yourself, more important than yourself, then you can look at that and go, okay, you are my foundation, you are my rock, you are the one thing that I'm going to use to settle my decisions. And a lot of times that's going to push you towards not only the best thing for yourself, but also for those around you. Because we don't live in a solitary, central, single organism environment. We live together. And as much as I can say, I love every single one of you. Not in an intimate matter, not in a, biblical sense. I love you because you're human. I care about you because you're a person. And everything you've been through made you who you are. And sometimes I may not like the choices and decisions you make. It doesn't change the fact that your choices and decisions aren't who you are. And we can debate and talk about and, rail against each other about those things. But at the end of the day, when that's over, I'm still going to care about you as a person. And nothing about that changes my salvation or my honor, because I placed it in something higher than the both of us. So that's my take on that Bible verse. The last time I made a video, I talked all the way up until, if I remember, I should have looked. I believe me and my wife were married, and my conversion. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Oh man, I just noticed that I put a big ding in my new bench. That's okay. It's a bench. It's going to get dinged, right? We're going to backtrack a little bit, because up to this point, I've been trying to keep it positive and talk about the wins and the things that have been going on that have been really just amazing in my life, which I still have an amazing life. But there's something that had happened that could have derailed everything, that could have set me into a spiral, which in the past is what would have happened. I wouldn't have known how to handle this situation. And it could have destroyed my relationship with my wife, and ultimately the relationship I have with, at the time, the one child that I had with her. When we were still living where we were when we first got together, and at this time I was getting regular visitations with my oldest child, and it was not something that me and my ex typically agreed upon. We definitely fought each other on this a lot about holidays, who's picking up who, what times. It was a battle, and it wasn't all her fault. It wasn't all my fault. It was definitely a combined effort of frustration for the both of us. And I'm very I used to be pretty laissez-faire, blasé-faire. I didn't really care about much. And as up until this point, now that I'm at this point in my life, I was very much more about being a active parent, not overly disciplinarian, but definitely structured. And because my daughter at this point, my oldest, had no structure, none whatsoever. There was no. The punishments that she received from her mother were not the same every time for the same offense. The bedtimes weren't a thing. Schoolwork was mostly looked down upon. It was definitely not what I would consider a awesome living space. But I didn't fight her mother on that. She's going to raise her how she sees fit. I'm going to raise her the way I see fit, and hopefully, as long as there was no abuse, as long as there was no harassment, as long as there was nothing that was over the top and needed, police intervention, I figured we could work through it. And then I got arrested. Me and my wife, we were just about to go somewhere. I can't even remember where we were going to go, but we were just about to go somewhere, and I was about to walk through the door and knock on the door, and it was the cops. Asked me who I was, made sure, did all the right things. I cooperated, and they arrested me. They said, "We have no idea why we're arresting you. We were just told to arrest you." Okay. I get to the jail, and come to find out, my daughter's mother has filed a false complaint upon me. And the kicker, the part that really hurts, is that she talked our daughter into writing a false one as well. And at this time, my wife, fiance at the time, we weren't married yet, was having our first child, or was almost going to have our first child. I was arrested, and she was really close to the due date. And we fought, and we fought. And they brought it in front of the DA. The DA said, "Nope, there's nothing here." Brought it in front of CPS, and within a week they closed the case, the file. There's nothing there. And then my wife, my fiance, gave birth, and I wasn't there, and it broke my heart. I couldn't handle. I mean, I did, ultimately, but it was very difficult to handle the fact that I wasn't going to be there for the birth of our first child. And if you haven't been to jail, visitation at jail is typically on two sides of a thick piece of glass talking over a phone. And that's the first time I got to see my just beautiful wife holding our amazing newborn daughter. To say that I was angry is to underestimate and understate just how much I wanted to just rail against the system. And for the first, I think 3 or 4 weeks of my daughter's life, I didn't get to hold her. I didn't get to spend time with her. I didn't get to feed her. I didn't get to listen to her breathing. I didn't get to see her open her eyes. I didn't get to feel those tiny little fingers wrap around my finger. I didn't get to console her when she was crying and hungry, or just crying because she's a newborn. And there was a time that I almost wanted to give up. Yes, I only spent 2.5 months for this. But had my oldest daughter's mother gotten what she wanted, I would have gone back to prison for 2.5 years. And I would like to say that I know for 100% certainty that my now wife, then fiance, would have stayed with me. I don't know. She doesn't know. No one knows. Because that's not something that you prepare for. That's not something that you sit there and go, oh yeah, hey, I'm going to be there through thick and thin, even if it means that I got to take care of this child by myself for 2.5 years, and I get no help from you, and you get to just sit there and do nothing. It was enough to almost make me want to give up. To just say nothing, it's not worth it. Even when I try, even when I, start bringing my oldest daughter back into my life, so that I can be the right father she needs from me. She can see an actual positive male role model, even if he is flawed. To know where he came from, to where he went to, and where he's going. And even doing all the right things, it still got dashed out from underneath my feet. And in the process, my wife couldn't stay at the apartment because they didn't want me back on the property. She had 30 days to find a new place, while still trying to take care of her first child and a newborn. And then I went to court, which is funny because, since I was on extended supervision, the DA didn't want it, so I didn't go to regular court. CPS didn't want it, so I didn't go to regular court. The only way that this could have happened is because my PO didn't take the hint. The fact that she personally sent it to the DA and to CPS was not enough for them to be all like, there's nothing here. So you go in front of what's called an administrative law judge, an ALJ. So we did that. Had the little proceeding. And then I had to sit for another 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks. And I didn't know what to think. I have an extensive record. None of it pertained to what this complaint was about, but I've been to prison before. I've been locked up. It'd be real easy for the ALJ to just be all like, yeah, he doesn't deserve to be out. If he didn't do this, he probably would have done something stupid otherwise. I can see that thought process. I can understand it, even if I may not agree with it. And we got the decision back. And to tell you that I was shaking, And one of the first lines I read on the piece of paper: "This man has done nothing wrong. In my opinion, at least he's being a father." To read those words come from somebody who had seen men just like me, but actually commit the crime that they're being accused of, but deny it the entire way. And to say those words, it meant so much to me. My wife never knew me when I was the old me. She doesn't know how I was exactly. I've told her about it. I've explained, kind of what it's been like, but she didn't ever actually see that part of me. She didn't see how ruled by anger I was. So I love hearing it from my wife. And I can tell that she believes it. And when she tells it to me, it makes it easy for me to believe that at least I'm being a father. But to hear it from this particular person absolutely meant so much to me. That I was doing the right thing, that I was following the right path. And if it hadn't been for two people, I wouldn't have even been there. And because of that, I no longer wanted my family to hurt again. I didn't want this to happen again when my newborn was a little older and could remember it. And so not only was it a tragedy that because they were angry at me because I was actually placing structure down. Oh, and I didn't even say why they did it initially. It was because we got into an argument over Easter. According to the courts, I was supposed to have her that Easter weekend, and I was hell-bent on having her come with us. Not because I wanted to take her from her mother, but because we had planned stuff that weekend that centered around her. And without her, it wouldn't make sense for us to go to. And so, not only because of this just ridiculous argument that the courts would have sided with me anyways, because that's what was in our child custody agreement, did I not get to be there when my newborn was brought into this existence, brought into this world. I couldn't trust being around my oldest anymore. I couldn't trust the fact that if she got angry again, she would just write another complaint about me. Or her mom would just beg and plead for the cops to come arrest me because of one thing or another, false or not. Because I love my oldest daughter. And I miss her. I miss her silliness. I miss her smile. I miss just how goofy she was and her little laugh. I miss my oldest daughter. But there was no way that I was going to take myself and run the risk of being taken from even smaller children on the off chance that she was willing to come stay with us and actually let me be her father. There was so much risk because even to this day, they still claim that I was in the wrong. That I had to make the hard choice of what's going to keep me with my family. What's going to keep me around to be father to my newborn and husband to my wife. And that's just like the verse said, that's when I had to seek for my mighty rock and my refuge. And pray that someday she'll want to have a relationship with me, even if it is as an adult, my oldest daughter. Someday she'll want to hear the stories that help me grow into the man that I am. And maybe she won't make the same poor choices that I did. But that's all I can do is pray about it. Okay. So that's the end of that. That was kind of a tough one. That was very much a tough one. But to kind of ease some stuff, I'm actually going to put a picture up here. And but I'm glad you guys stuck around. I know this was a little bit of a longer one. I really hope to see you guys on Wednesday when I talk a little bit about what I learned and kind of what I'm still learning from that situation. I'm probably not going to have anything for Hobby Friday. I haven't been doing a lot of work in the shop because I literally took the whole week off, even from just coming to the shop. So I don't have a lot of hobby stuff this week that was filmed. But I'm going to be getting on that this week so that I got something in 2 Fridays. Thank you guys. If you know anyone that could really, really use these videos to learn from, or to, hey, I'm not that dumb, I'm not going to do those choices that he made, shoot him my link. You know, follow me so you can see more, and you can make sure that they get the videos if you think that they'd be helpful. I'd appreciate the support. I appreciate all support. And I really hope to see you guys around. 2 announcements. I'm coming up fairly close to 100 subscribers. As of shooting this video, I think I was at 71. Once I reach 100 subscribers, I'm gonna make a handmade pen, and I'm gonna give it away to the first person that comments. And free. You don't have to worry about shipping. You don't have to worry about handling. I will ship it to you, and you will get it. You know, I'm not paid on here. I don't make any money off these videos, but the support you guys have been giving me has been fantastic. And I just want to give back what little that I can using the skills that I have, and bless you, and hopefully at least somewhat the same as you've blessed me. Yeah. I had another announcement. I can't remember what it is. I cannot remember what it is. Maybe I'll remember for the next video. But, again, thank you. Hope to see you around. And if you were wondering if I've forgiven my daughter and her mother, it took some years. It took time. But I've completely forgiven them. It's possible for someone to hurt you in a way that is very deep, and you're still able to say, I still care about you. I still feel compassion for you, and I forgive you. I hope that someday that they can forgive me for the pain that I caused them. Always remember, guys, if we're going to change the world, sometimes we have to forgive those that hurt us so we can change ourselves. Have a good night.